We're going to talk about vision, mission, and values as a spiritual entrepreneur. And I just want to start out by sharing some people that were deeply rooted in their personal purpose, and that led them to create great movements or great companies. One woman said that her purpose was to be a teacher, and that woman was Oprah Winfrey. A man that changed India forever said, "My life is my message," and that was Gandhi. Steve Jobs wanted to make a dent in the universe. Mandela asked God to use his life to serve and empower others. Mother Teresa wanted to give until it hurts. Walt Disney's purpose was to make people happy. Martin Luther King Jr., to create a world where everyone is equal. My personal purpose is to heal at scale. AlterCall's purpose is to change the world by changing the way the world does business. I share these with you because I want you to start to think about your purpose and your mission and your vision. When you're writing your purpose, your mission, and your vision, the key is to refine it constantly and get it to the simplest, most duplicatable message you possibly can. Mine is simple. It's 2 words with an at symbol in between them. Heal at scale. That becomes the filter that I utilize to make decisions. For example, when a friend calls me up and says, "You got to get involved in this Bitcoin thing," I ask myself, does it heal at scale? I'll look at the direct healing at scale that it does. I'll look at whether or not it furthers my mission. And I'll look at whatever opportunity is presented to me in comparison to the other opportunities that I've said yes to. And then I'll make a decision as to whether or not this furthers my mission or it's a distraction. Now, in order for you to really get a very simple and clear vision and mission and purpose statement, you need to have values. You need to be clear in those values. So I'll read to you some values. When you look at the word cloud that is my work, I'll read you some values that pop up. And I say word cloud because, I've done hundreds of interviews, written a couple of books, have created a movie. And so in that cloud of words, you'll see the words fearlessness, persistence, accountability, vision, hard work, adaptability, giving back, service, responsibility, and love. Those are personal words that guide me, that are a part of me, that embody who I am, and that are very meaningful to me. And so I write down those values so that way I can get to a place where I have a very simple and clear mission and vision, as does my company. They're not one and the same, but one furthers the other. So the more that I'm thinking about my role of helping heal at scale, the more spiritual entrepreneurship gets invested to. And when I'm looking at my stock portfolio or the other ways that I allocate capital, I'm asking myself, is this allocation going to further that personal mission of healing at scale? If you look at the great traditions, the 5 great traditions, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, they all exist to help people discover what their purpose is, for them to become their best selves and ultimately to serve. And so a lot of people will say negative things about religion. I don't believe in that. I believe that when we say negative things about religion, we bring negative things onto ourselves and we create separation. And I'm for creating unity. And as a spiritual entrepreneur, our mission is to unify all faiths to change the world by changing the way the world does business. And so I'll share a variety of different pieces of wisdom from different traditions because I'm seeking to unify all of us to really step into our higher selves, to become the best version of ourselves that we can be, to be deeply rooted in our purpose, and to make the world a better place through service. Organizations that are mission-driven, many of them are brands that you're well aware of. Tesla, for example, is very mission-driven. Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google. There's no coincidence that these great companies that have created great prosperity and tools that we all use nearly every day in many cases, there's no coincidence that these companies are deeply rooted in their purpose. And their founders are equally rooted deeply in their personal purpose. The objective with this work that we're going to do here tonight is to turn a job into a calling. Imagine you are so driven to answer the call of your personal purpose that becomes contagious. You're so clear in your company's mission and vision and values that it attracts the perfect people to work in that, and they embrace it not as a job, but as a calling too. Imagine what it would be like if you didn't have to worry about the labor market, if you didn't have to monitor your team members day in and day out to ensure that they were actually doing what they said they would do. Imagine what it would be like if every team member had it so deeply rooted in their heart that they chose you as a way that they could fulfill their personal calling in life. Imagine what your company could achieve with great people gathered and unified in vision, purpose, and mission. And those people didn't see their work with you as a job, but they saw it as a calling. What would happen, and I know this from experience, is when you get tired, we all do as an entrepreneur, we don't sleep correctly, or we push ourselves too hard, or kids wake us up, or life happens, the team still goes, they're still moving. And you're feeding off of that energy, and it's lifting you when you need to be lifted. Imagine that your team is so deeply rooted in your calling as a spiritual entrepreneur that they're praying for you just as hard as you're praying for them. Imagine if you knew that the work that you do was powered by the ultimate force, by the Holy Spirit. Just imagine what that would be like. That would be better than any venture capitalist backing you. That'd be better than having Bill Gates involved in your business. That'd be better than having Elon Musk involved in your business. It would be having the best partner that you could ever imagine in the creation of your calling, in the creation of your business. And that your business vehicle would actually fulfill our Creator's children's calling as well. So by the very act of you stewarding your business, you're not only fulfilling your calling, but you're fulfilling the calling of many. The purpose of a calling is to learn, to grow, and to serve. That's what a calling should do. And so when you look at your business vehicle and you define clearly your purpose, your mission, your vision, your values, and you turn it from a job or a business into a calling, from a company into a movement, when you do that, that's when it will fulfill you at the deepest levels of the soul. Your business will feed you and not drain you. Your business will feed its team members and not drain them. Your team members will literally fight over good stewardship of capital. I've never seen it happen before, but I have people texting me, we could have saved money on the paper cups. And I'm just like, what a blessing that people are stewarding the capital of this company as though it is their own, because when it's a calling, it becomes yours. You have ownership over it. You take responsibility for it, and every action that you take is potentially infused with spiritual energy. Now, to further sell you on creating a purpose, a mission, visions, and values, because I used to read these things and just think to myself, it's a bunch of garbage on a website. It means nothing. And most often it doesn't mean anything. It's like an exercise that some marketing grad comes in and has you do. You do it, you don't fully embody it, and it just becomes, nice marketing. But that's not the culture that you live. It's not the way that you live. And so when you do it the way that I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to probe you with some questions, and then we're going to do a writing exercise, so you walk away here with clarity in your purpose, your mission, your vision, and your values. But further, if you already have clarity or some clarity around that, this will be an opportunity for you to refine that. I want you to be able to refine it down to just a couple words, like Gandhi did when he said, and this was powerful, my life is my message. I mean, think about that. Think about how simple that is, but how that particular mission and vision for himself is that he would create a life that is so pure, that is so dedicated to service, that is so peaceful, that takes a stand against the tyranny and the oppression that he endured. And it's so simple, but so powerful, and he could live to that standard each and every single day. My life is my message. When you have a clear and compelling vision for your people will have direction. It will motivate and inspire them. It'll help them make decisions. It will also build their identity. And simultaneously, it will build your brand identity. Most importantly, it will ignite mighty forces inside of them individually and mighty forces collectively. And I think that's what each and every single one of you are seeking to do in your work here at AlterCall as a spiritual entrepreneur. You're seeking to ignite mighty forces. Now, some questions that you can ask yourself, and I encourage you to take notes on these questions because you won't get all of the answers tonight. This is something that we're going to pray upon. This is something we're going to meditate about. This is something that's going to come to you because my purpose came to me by a divine download. I was at my weakest place. I needed to heal. I had had some skills that I'd picked up through my 20 years as an entrepreneur around the subject of scaling, but I knew nothing about healing. And so I went deep to learn everything that I could about healing myself so that I could be of service and help heal others. And as I went and healed, I thought about the scalability, and I thought a lot about the tools and the methods and modalities and the principles and practices so that I could heal, knowing that my personal mission was to bring healing to the world at scale. And so I got a divine download that that's what I was supposed to do with the rest of my life. And I've inspected deeply both those words each and every day since: heal at scale. So the questions that I have for you to stimulate you to either write your purpose statement for the very first time or write your mission and vision and values for the first time, or for you to refine yours into something that can be so simple that everyone in your organization knows it and can live by it, can reflect on it, and make decisions with it. Much like the purpose statements that I read to you of the thought leaders that I mentioned earlier. Question number 1, what is the impact that you want to make? Question number 2, what legacy do you want to leave behind? Question number 3, what do you want to achieve in your lifetime? Now, as you've written down these questions, and I have a few more that I'll share with you in a second, but I just want to share with you, when I was contemplating the legacy that I wanted to create around healing at scale, and I started investing and hiring scientists on the AI front and hiring world-renowned coaches in psychology such as Tara and other coaches that we brought in because I wanted to fully understand healing so that I could then hire scientists on the AI front and operation experts and technologists in the systems front so that it could scale. So if you look at the pattern of decisions that I have made, they really fall into 2 buckets: healing and scaling. And when I look at the legacy that I want to leave behind, I would love to do work that was of such a quality that it could receive a Nobel Peace Prize. Now, I'm not pursuing that because that's an ego pursuit, but that's the standard that I'm seeking to hold myself and my team to. So when I meet with our scientists and we talk about our AI platform and our technology, that standard that we want to create Nobel Prize-worthy work is the standard that I set in our conversations, and that standard and that language attracts people that are like, let's go. I don't want to just make some money. I don't want to just, do some data science project to make a couple bucks. Let's create work that is Nobel Prize worthy. Whether or not we'll ever get that, that's not the purpose of that statement. The purpose is for people to raise their standards, to have a vision of their standards. That is one of the highest honors that we can have. And so you're going to hear me talk a little bit in some of the additional questions that we're going to dive into about standards, because having high standards is having vision. The other questions that I want you to contemplate are, what values matter the most in your decision making? And if the answers come up, write them down very quickly. If you have the answer, jot it down. Sometimes we already have this information within us. These questions and this teaching is just a reminder of what you already have in you. So write it down to remind yourself. And perhaps as you write it down, that will be a form of confirmation to you. Who are you most passionate about serving? Who are you most qualified to serve? And this one is inspired by Gandhi's personal purpose. If your life was a message, what would it be? I have 2 more questions for you to think about for homework. The next question is, what are you willing to restrict to get there? Our vision is to change the world. I will restrict anything to see that vision forward. I'll even restrict Instagram. But believe it or not, I'll restrict sleeping in. I'll restrict going to nightclubs. I'll restrict chasing shiny objects. I'll restrict anything that I believe is going to further advance the mission, that is going to unlock more potential within me. There's nothing that I'm attached to that is more important than my attachment to this vision and this mission of this company. I'm not more attached to sugar. I'm not more attached to eating unhealthy. I'm not more attached to time wasters, distractions, toxic substances, toxic content. I'm not more attached to those things than I am to my attachment to our mission. So the question is, what are you willing to restrict to get there? And then question number 9 is, what do you need to do right now to further your mission, to further your vision? Another way to put that is, what is the next step in your mission? We often create these mission statements and vision statements. We're going to change the world, and it's very esoteric. And so once you go out there into the future and you think about your vision for the future, and you think about your legacy and your impact and the message that your life is going to leave behind to those that you love, once you think about that, then we got to come way, way back to the present moment, and we have to identify what the very next step is for us to advance the mission. Based on the conversation that I just shared with you and the content I just shared with you, some of you might have clarity in exactly what that is. You might need to restrict. You might need to refine your mission and your vision so that way it is duplicatable, so that way you remember it, that way you can share it. You might need to get with your team, do some homework. You might need to read some scripture on purpose, vision, mission, and values. That's what I did in preparation for this conversation today. And I found many, many different separate pieces of wisdom from many different traditions on this very subject that were inspiring to me, not only to have this conversation, but to further refine my own work on this subject. Now, with regard to standards, because I think that many of these ancient texts, in particular from my tradition, the Bible, they teach through stories of great people that had great vision, mission, and purpose, and did great things. And so we can further refine our own vision, mission, values, and purpose by studying these stories and asking ourselves where are the similarities in their stories to our stories. And so I have a further set of questions I just want to leave you with here before we dive in to the writing exercise. And that is, what heroes have a calling similar to yours? And these can be heroes that are alive, and they can be heroes that are no longer with us. They can be biblical heroes. But what heroes have a calling similar to yours? The next question for you to start thinking about the standards that are going to be required for you to fulfill your mission and your vision. What skills did those heroes need to obtain? So when you think about the story of David, one of my heroes, and on the back wall here, you can't really see it, but I surround myself in my house with the heroes. When you think about the heroes, what skills did they need to obtain? Martin Luther King had to learn how to speak in public. Gandhi had to learn how to meditate. Mother Teresa learned how to serve. And when you look at the people that you're inspired by, you will see a pattern. These people inspire you for a reason. We all have different soul level hits on heroes. Like I was always drawn to Martin Luther King, drawn to it, mesmerized by him, because there's something inside of his example that I need to learn from. The same holds true for great musicians, scientists, great leaders. They are all here to teach you something. And your soul is attracted to them because there's something in them that you are supposed to learn. So that way you can create your own hero's journey. So that way you can create a vision so clear, a mission so compelling, a set of values that are so deeply rooted in you that you will attract talented people that turn their jobs into callings so that you can do the same. And the last question is, what skills do you need to master to be the hero in your own story? I'll share with you an uncomfortable conversation I had with myself. I said, Ryan, if you want to be great, you got to replay your tape. You got to watch your speeches. I don't like watching my speeches. I cringe watching my social media. My team posts it. I don't look at it. That's not my thing. I cringe. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to become a professional. I'm not going to reach the levels that are necessary for me to make the impact that I am capable of, that I'm called to, that I'm here for, if I don't start getting uncomfortable and watching myself, whether it be on social media or replaying the tape after an event like this. So what are you willing to do? What skills do you need to learn in order for you to be able to fully embody the person that you are destined to be so that you can make the impact that you came here to make? I'm Ryan Blair. I've done over $1 billion in exits, $2 billion in sales, and I help founders like you grow, scale, turn around, and exit their businesses. If you're running an 8-figure business and you want to take it to 9, or you're running a 9-figure business and you want to take it to 10, I'll give you an hour of my time to discuss strategy and tactics necessary for you to do that. I have actually done that. I know what it takes to build and scale a business. I know the unique problem sets that you face. I know the unique challenges. I know the problems that you're up against. And I'm happy to give you an hour of my time to build a relationship with you, to see if we could possibly work together. If you're interested, click on the link, find a time on my calendar, and we'll spend an hour together talking about strategy and tactics for you to grow, scale, or sell your business.